What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. Welcome back to my public YouTube channel. You made it in for a very serious and important video today. Glad to have you here. All right, we're going to be speaking about something that's very deep. This is in regards to the Illuminati and how the Illuminati steals your soul. How exactly are the hidden societies, the Illuminatis, the secret parts of our own governmental structure, how are they actually taking advantage of you on an energetic level when it comes to your soul's expression? How do they take that away from you? How do they make it so that you're not your true self? I'm a professional occultist. I'm a black magician myself, and I have a lot of insight on these types of things that many people do not have. I'm going to be going into depth with this subject and explaining it in a way that I promise you've probably never heard before. This is literally the type of information that can completely shift someone's paradigm, which means when you go out into everyday life, the way you're viewing the world is completely different. If this is something that you want to know about and you want to gain this knowledge that most people do not have, then definitely you have one thing to do, and that's to stay tuned. All right, let me first start with introducing myself, just in case you're new to my channel. My name is Jeremiah Schwartz. I'm a professional occultist. I'm fully initiated in the entire Kabbalistic tree. I'm studied when it comes to the 22 major arcana of the tarot deck. I'm studied when it comes to planetary energies. And I'm also studied when it comes to trauma and the nervous system. So with that being said, let's go right into it. So how exactly does the Illuminati steal your soul? All right, so when I say Illuminati, what I'm really referring to is people that are aware of the real psychic sciences that are often in higher positions within our mass collective, positions of authority, positions of influence. How do these people use these psychic sciences to cause you as the viewer, to cause you as the citizen to be separated from your true self? How do they prevent you from knowing who you truly are, and how do they profit off of you? How do they take your soul's energy? So as I said from the intro of this video, I am a professional occultist. Not only am I a professional occultist, but I am very skilled and very studied and experienced when it comes to the darker aspects of the occult. So I am what's called a black magician, someone who's done a lot of dark magic in my life. Simply what that means is just I've dabbled very deeply with darker energies. And from doing this, I've received a lot of knowledge. Knowledge that many people do not have. Some would call it the true knowledge of good and evil. And in today's video, I'm really going to be explaining some of the things that are happening behind scenes that most people goes right over their head. So if you're here, you're tuned into a video that is going to be a very, this is going to give you a very advanced knowing. And if this is information that you're interested in, definitely make sure to hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Give me your feedback if you want to hear more content that is like this, because trust me, I have a vault of knowledge where I can share stuff like this. And I know people like to hear this stuff. So hit the thumbs up button. All right. So let's go into it. So what exactly is taking place on our planet today? There are many different, I want to say, hierarchical structures that are overlaying our planet right now. And these structures are designed to have power. So the people that are governing the economics, the people that are governing the planet Earth, and when I say the people, it usually does come down to a grouping of families, royal families that run very deep in the bloodline, to the point where you don't even know who they are. You're not going to know their names. They're very secretive, very, very secretive. So when it comes to the British royal family and, whatever other royal families you may have heard of, it's not these people. There are people that are behind them that are part of royal families as well, but you don't even know the name of their family. And the people that are playing these roles of mass collective control and mass collective influence are in their position for a reason. And when I say that, what I'm referring to is they're in this position for a divine reason. And truth be told, these people are coming from a Luciferian consciousness, which also revolves around a Luciferian bloodline. So the people that are really governing things on this planet, economically, socially, emotionally, mentally, and physically, it's going to be a Luciferian consciousness. It's going to be a Luciferian bloodline. And I'm someone who has this Luciferian consciousness. So I'm speaking about it from actual experience, and I'm speaking on it in a way where I'm able to bring light to a lot of darkness that people have. Because there's a lot of people that believe all kinds of things when it comes to our planet and what's happening on our planet today. And I'm here to bring some real awareness to what's happening as the light bearer, if you would. But as I was saying, the higher up elites, we could say, I'll use these terms for now. I don't usually like using these terms, but I'll use them for the video so that it can be easier to understand. The higher up elites that are governing things on our planet, they are Luciferians, which means they are light bearers, but they are also catalyst implementers. So a common misbelief that people have is that the elites on our planet are purely sinister and purely evil. And this is actually promoted to us in a lot of movies and TV shows and books and you name it. I mean, think about it. Like something that just comes to mind is Squid Games. This was a great representation. It's like, for those of you that watch Squid Games, you see towards the end, there are these like elite guys that are watching the people, fight for their life. And it just further installs that belief in our mind that there are these elites that we don't really know about. And they are like, putting people through suffering just so that they can laugh and sit back and enjoy with all their wealth. So there's many movies that display the same type of quality. Another movie that comes to mind is the new Batman. Okay, the new Batman displayed this quality as well. And over and over again, we get pressed with this awareness to the point where we start to shift our own paradigm on society itself or in the mass collective. We start to see ourselves as a human citizen and that there are elites that are governing our planet that are evil. And I'm here to let you know that this is not actually the truth. Okay? Let me say that. This is not actually the truth. The real elites that govern and influence the entire planetary sphere are Luciferian beings that are truly light bearers, which means these are people that have a true love for humanity. People that actually love other human beings, care about them, want to see them do good. But there's a famous saying, comes from Star Wars, Yoda said it, with great power comes great responsibility. So these people are in positions of being light bearers and are in a position of massive amounts of influence and control, but ultimately, they are also in positions of responsibility to place a certain amount of catalyst on society or on the planet itself. Catalyst being the resistance, the pressure, the pain, the suffering, so that the human species can actually use something to grow. Because if everything was the Garden of Eden, if everything was perfect and everything was harmonious, we wouldn't have a catalyst to push us to better know ourselves. So what I'm saying here is that the real elites that govern this planet, they're not evil people. They are very intelligent, wise, and experienced beings that have experience not just from this lifetime, experience from other lives as well, in other densities. And they've come here, they've chose to incarnate here with the Luciferian consciousness, with the Luciferian embodiment, to be in this position of responsibility where, yes, they have love for humanity, but they also know that their main role is to structure the proper amount of catalyst. So the way that the catalyst shows up is in many unique ways. So the catalyst shows up by, and there's many layers to this, but I'm going to explain this as best as I can. This is going to be a little bit nuanced, so I really want you to listen as best as you can. The way that these elites, these Luciferian elites, operate is they have many hierarchies below them, many different types, layers upon layers, like an onion. And when we get down to some of those layers that's getting closer to the surface, there are people like politicians, government officials, people that are involved in everyday life and take on the face for public matters. It's a lot of these people that end up taking roles of being the ones that push out catalyst, because they're being paid a large amount of money to push out that catalyst. And when I say push out the catalyst, what I mean is a lot of these people, politicians, government officials, and you name it, tons of other people that have positions of influence and power, a lot of them are very manipulative in nature. And when I say that, what I mean is like manipulative to a degree that they are literally intending to cause harm to your self-development without giving you the proper education on how to navigate the harm that they're causing. Now, karma is a real thing within our universe. Cosmic laws will always stand the test of time. So if anyone's playing that role where they're causing harm to other souls that are just trying to know their true self and that are actually on that path, karma always comes back to that person. So this is like the example of the Jeffrey Epstein, right? Like, guy has a lot of money, literally owns his own island, probably had to cut a lot of corners to get to where he is. Then he starts, creating this weird sex thing going on with a bunch of women, and eventually karma comes around and it exposes him. He was not making his money in a authentic way, and he was cutting a lot of corners, and he was doing things that were very inappropriate. So guess what? Cosmic law, cause and effect. He got his effect, and he ended up losing his life. All right? So karma is real, and when people are in these types of positions, government officials, politicians, just giving you an example, they are getting paid a lot of money to do very sinister things. So they're making more money the more they are manipulating other people. But that doesn't mean that they don't get the karma from that. They do get karma from this. So karma ends up getting at them. Like, think about like Nancy Pelosi, right? It's like she does a whole bunch of corrupt things. She says things all the time that sounds crazy. She's hurting a lot of people. And as a result, literally she's like mass collectively hated. Like, people hate her, like probably to the point where she can't have normal relationships in her life. Same thing with Dr. Fauci, just giving an example. It's like he stands up, he's the voice of the pandemic, and he's saying all these things that he says one thing one week and something different the next week, and he's getting paid a whole bunch of money to be saying these things. He probably deeply doesn't even resonate with what he's saying, but he's doing it because it's a part of his program. It's a part of how much, how he's getting paid and everything. And as a result, cause and effect, he's mass collectively hated to the point where people are like threatening his life. All right. So karma is real. And as I'm trying to say, it's like these people are at a certain level of the hierarchy of elitism where they're almost in a way being tricked into playing these positions of manipulation by the real higher ups within the hierarchy, who are the Luciferians, who actually have love for humanity, but are designed to give the proper amount of catalyst. So that catalyst also goes down the hierarchy to people that are in the roles of politicians and government officials and all other types of people. So if for example, if I take on the role of being someone that's, going to start pushing out information that is designed to manipulate other people to probably lead them in a certain direction that's not in their best interest. But if I'm getting paid a lot of money to do it, part of me is going to say, yeah, I'll take this position because I'm going to get a lot of money. And okay, I'm going to manipulate a lot of people, probably hurt a lot of people, but I'm getting paid a lot of money. So it is what it is. And then the other part of me says, wait, that's not authentic to who I truly am. I do not resonate with it. Even if I'm getting paid a lot of money, I don't feel like that's right. And actually, I have an awareness of cosmic law, and I know that cause and effect is real. So I'm going to choose to not do this because I don't want to hurt myself. And I just don't resonate with it. I don't want to hurt other people as well. So it's like there's two sides of the self. One is more in alignment with the true self, which understands cosmic laws. The other one is separated, operating off of repressed negative emotions from unhealed trauma, and is willing to take money over, hurting other people. Like is literally willing to take money and completely manipulate other souls to the point where they're going to hurt themselves. But then as you choose that side, if you choose that side of consciousness, you get cosmic law that comes back to you and you get affected. So the higher up Luciferians will recruit people in these lower positions like politicians and government officials to see if they're aware of karma and if they're willing to take that role, knowing that they're going to get karma if they accept the role, but that's just a part of their evolutionary growth. So that's their catalyst. That would be the politicians, the government officials' catalyst, which is their karma. While the people at the top of the hierarchy are observing the whole thing. And they're just watching it, observing what decisions these people make. Are they going to take the position of hurting other people at the cost of their own karma? Or are they going to listen to their true self and decline the position? So, I'm creating this example to kind of show you what's taking place on our planet today. So with that being said, I want the paradigm to kind of shift. Rather than seeing, the world as if it's evil and it's ran by evil people. This is a paradigm, right? This is a certain way that we can view reality. And we start to see things from a lens of like, this is wrong, this is evil, like the people that created this are evil. And that's not really a paradigm that you want to stay in, because the entire paradigm itself is built off of fear. I mean, think about it. Like, if it's true that the people at the highest positions of elitism are evil, then, like, inherently, that's scary. Like, I don't care who you think you are, that's scary. But that doesn't mean that's true. And based on what I know from all the experience that I have with the occult, with self-development, and all these other things, I know the universe doesn't operate off of fear. The universe operates off of love, and as above, so below, as within, as without, the people that are in positions of real power on our planet, they are coming from a space of love. They're not coming from a space of fear. What we're seeing with our two eyes, the politicians, the government officials, the governmental structure, we're seeing the side of the manipulation. We're seeing the fear. But behind that, the people that are putting these people in their positions, they're not operating off of fear. They're operating off of awareness, observation, and truly love. And it's their job, it's the Luciferians' job to responsibly place catalyst amongst the human species. And it's not evil by any means. So if we can shift the paradigm to understand this, we can live in a world where we don't feel like we're in a prison or we're trapped in this imprisonment. We can live in a world where there's love and there's understanding that everything plays its role and everything truly has its position, its divine position. We can start looking at the politicians and the government officials that we feel like are these manipulated, these sinister, manipulative people, and we can say, well, you know what? They're just at a position in their evolution that they don't even understand what they're doing is going to come back and get them. They have no idea that their own karma is going to get them and that they're going to have to heal from this experience at some point. Maybe not even in this lifetime. Maybe in the next life. All right? It's how it functions. And once again, to be real, the people that have the real influence over the mass collective, over the human species, they're not going to be people that are stuck in fear-based mindsets. These are people that literally are light bearers. They understand the deeper knowings within the mass collective unconscious. These are people that have spent a lot of time developing the self, not even just in this lifetime. These are souls that have incarnated with a lot of knowing, a lot of awareness. And that's how the universe functions. It does operate off of love. You know, the famous quote by Aleister Crowley, like, the ultimate black magician in his final stages of life, his biggest realization was love shall be the law. And it's true. Everything operates on love. So with that being said, the goal here was to shift the paradigm, because what I'm about to start going into now is how people are getting manipulated and how the technologies of manipulation actually function and how they pull on some of the deeper rooted triggers within your body to get you to be stuck with identifying with your artificial self and how they profit off of you. And I'm going to be sharing this information from a space that is very deep. Okay, this is like what most people don't touch this. All right, so if you're already gaining value from what I'm talking about, remember, hit the thumbs up button. All right, and consider sharing this content with a friend if you have a friend that would gain value from it. But let's go into it. So the paradigm has now shifted. We don't live in a trap, imprisonment. We are living in a universe of love. And everything has its role. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just existence, being in the present moment, that is what is most important. Focusing on yourself and your true self integration. That's all that matters. All right. Now, how do the elites within our governments that are unconsciously very manipulative to the point where they're going to receive their own karma, but they don't even know it, how do they profit off of you? How do they suck your soul away? How do they get you to identify with your artificial self? Everything comes down to trauma. So trauma is, once again, what we go through at a very young age, most of the time. Trauma can happen at any time in life, but the most significant traumas that most of us experience is at the younger age, usually from the age, or actually usually from in the mother's womb all the way till the age of 10. Usually it's this range where we go through some of the most significant traumatic experiences. And that's simply because we're so young at that time that we just do not have the capacity or the education to know how to process that trauma. So it really stores in our bodies, in our nervous system, and we hold on to it. And we have to separate, we have to create a shell to survive the trauma at that time, to cope. But with that being said, when someone goes through a trauma, there's an underlying emotion that the trauma itself is rooted in. So the trauma itself is like a very shocking event that shocks the person's system. That shock to the system creates a sensation. From the sensation, it produces an emotion. And then the emotion, being a negative emotion, gets repressed in the nervous system, gets stored in the body. So usually some of the root emotions that I've come to find that are associated with most people's trauma is fear, sadness, and anger. All right? So if people are carrying this repressed emotion of fear, sadness, or anger inside of their bodies, and they're having to create an alternate self or an alternate personality to cope from actually feeling these internal emotions, then all that I have to do to profit off of you is I have to touch the fear, the sadness, or the anger. And when I say that's what I have to touch, all I have to do is play on that. So let me give you an example. To touch on your repressed fear, all I have to say is something that threatens your protection, that makes you feel afraid. All I have to say or couch is something that threatens your coping mechanism with your artificial self and makes you afraid or makes you feel that fear. And I have to couch it in a way that says, if you purchase my product, then you will be protected. So this would look like this. if you don't get my vampire service, you're going to get lost in the abyss when you start to get into your occult practices. Like, you literally will lose your mind. You'll not be able to function anymore. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your relationships. You're going to have no fun in life anymore if you don't get my vampire service. If you start invoking energies without having my vampire service first, these energies are going to attack you, and they're going to scare you in the middle of the night for the rest of your life. You're going to have nightmares every single night. But if you get my vampire service, it's going to protect you from all of these things, and you're not going to have to worry about that because you're going to be able to turn that energy into your power. So if I couched my service in that way, then it's so much more likely that people are going to watch this video. I'm going to hit on that deep trigger of fear, this internal fear that most people have repressed, and it's going to turn something on in the person's consciousness to say, I need to protect myself. I need to sign up for his service. And I'm going to get more subscribers. I'm going to make more money by doing that. Whereas if I just said, oh yeah, you don't really need my service. You can do it on your own if you want. My service, can be beneficial, but it's not really necessary. First link in the YouTube description. If I said it in that way, then I'm not hitting on the fear. I'm not playing on your repressed negative emotion from your unhealed trauma. I'm not couching it in fear, so it's a lot less likely that you're going to purchase my service. You're going to be like, okay, well, it is what it is. If I don't need it, like if nothing's going to happen, then it is what it is. Maybe one day I'll get it. I don't know. So this is just giving you an example, using my service as an example of how I can wrap it in fear, because I'm aware that you've been traumatized in your life, and what you've most likely repressed is a negative emotion of fear. So all I have to do is something that threatens you, threatens your survival, and produces the fear. And then I've almost, in a way, I have you in a form of hypnotism where I become your hero. I become your savior. And you look to me now as the person that can protect you. I almost become, in a weird way, I almost become your father figure. And you're like, okay, you can protect me now. Wonderful. And I can do this very well and strategically if I have the knowledge and the education of how trauma functions and how trauma gets stored in the nervous system, especially with the nature of our modern time society where most families separate and most men, the fathers, are not present and don't have the protector ability. So the masculine figure in the family dynamic is supposed to be the protector. So if I know in our society that the father figure is being broken down to the point where they're not the protector, then I can set the stage to feed on your fear and then play the protector that you never had, and you will resonate with it, and you will come to me as if, in a weird way, in an unconscious way, as if I'm your father, and you're looking at me for protection. And meanwhile, I can profit off of you. I can get you to sign up for every service that I have, because if you don't, then something bad's going to happen to you. And trust me, my service will help you. It'll protect you. And it's that simple. So I want you to take this example that I just gave, and I want you to apply it to other areas of life. What are some other avenues of social media or mainstream media that are constantly pushing out fear? First thing that comes to my mind is the news. All right, it's the first thing, right? Every single day you go on the news, all you hear is, hey, Jeff, someone ran over yesterday, 11 a.m., two critical condition, took them to the hospital. It's like everything is based around death, fear, negative energy, people not being okay, people not getting paid, people losing their jobs, people not getting justice. All of it is fear-based. And it's constantly being pushed out because what it's doing is it's grabbing the awareness of the person who's watching the news, and it's in a weird way, it's hypnotism, because the person that's watching the news has created a separate version of themselves to run away from the deep fear inside of their body that happened to them when they were just probably a child. So when the person's now watching the news and they're hearing all of this fear programming, this is their way of sort of controlling how they feel the fear. So they're gravitated towards the news, or they're gravitated towards the media that's producing the fear, because they know on a deep internal level, this is the emotion they're running from. But the person that's giving them that emotion is now telling them that they need to do these types of things, or they need to be this way in order to feel protected, or in order to be safe. So it's like a programming of fear and then a solution that is designed to further shell you, or that is designed to further mislead you and get you to identify with your artificial self. So it's like, you got to get the jab, virus is spreading everywhere. People are dying everywhere. 50,000 dead in Illinois. Get the jab. You got to get the jab. The jab will protect you. It's that same concept. First, prey on the fear, then redirect into a specific solution. But the solution is most oftentimes designed to further mislead you from your true self, which leads to more trauma, leads to more shelling. And the more shelling there is, the more the mainstream corporations like your markets, your Home Depots, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Best Buys, the more they're profiting off of you, because all you care about is the little things that make you feel good now. So all you care about is getting your McDonald's cheeseburger once you've had a day where you've just been so stressed out and afraid of everything. All you need is that little cheeseburger, and your day's, your day's okay. You at least can make it through the day. All you need is your little Xbox to get through, right? So it's like, this gets very nuanced and there's many levels to it, but everything is designed to operate on unhealed trauma, specifically the repressed emotions that are inside of the nervous system. So what did I say? I said fear is one of the big ones. Sadness is one of the big ones. How does sadness manifest? Have you ever been asked to donate to a family or children that are in unfortunate positions that live in different parts of the country? So I'm not saying that these things are all the time bad, and I'm not saying not to donate, but a lot of the times, the corporations that are behind the collections for these donations, from what I know, is that the money doesn't always get to where it's said it's supposed to go, if you catch my drift. The money can kind of get redirected. So all the donations actually end up going somewhere else rather than where we thought it was going. But the essence of, supporting someone that is not well off, that's in another country that may be struggling financially and even just struggling to survive, that's preying on sadness. Because internally, all of us, most of us, have a repressed sadness because our parents weren't able to help us survive in the way that we needed to when we were young. And I don't just mean on the physical level. A lot of us may have had roofs over our heads. We may have had the physical things, but emotionally, a lot of us have been neglected. And emotionally, a lot of us have not been supported and have not experienced love from the family. And that is very traumatic. And that the emotion and the physical are literally the same. Like, they affect someone the same way. That's why someone can have all nice things and nice house, nice car, and they can literally kill themselves because they're so unsatisfied with life because they're emotionally void. They're not there. They didn't get the nurturing and the love that they needed from their family. So when someone asks you to donate to this, kid that, lives in a different country and doesn't have money, they're playing on that sadness because you immediately tap into that sadness that you have in your body. And you say, wow, you know what? I didn't have someone do anything for me when I was young. That's sad. Let me help someone else and let me give money to them, or let me donate some money towards this cause. And most people don't have that level of self-reflection where they check in with themselves and they come to that conclusion, but it's just that emotion of sadness that people have that they operate on. That is sad. Let me donate. And what they don't know is a lot of times the money they're donating isn't actually going to where it's said it's supposed to go. So it's just playing on that emotion though. You know, if they were like, hey, can you donate to this corporation? We're trying to build our company and you know, hire more employees. People would be like, fuck no, I'm not going to do that. Why would I donate for another $1 million corporation? But if they couch it, hey, we need you to support this family that's struggling and doesn't have any money, then immediately the emotion is sadness. And you're like, wow, you know what? Here, let me give some donations. All right. So that's another way. Then there's anger. How often do you see on the news as well? A lot of this can be shown in the news, right? I mean, they hit all three of these emotions in the news all the time. Anger. It's like, we're protesting. We're standing up for our right. It's not fair. We're going to make a name. We're going to stand out. We're going to be who we are now. We're not going to stand, you know, down. We're going to fight for this, right? Anger. You know, we all have this repressed anger inside of our body from not having the love that we deserved when we were children. You know, we have this anger if, you know, our parents went through separation. We have anger if, you know, we had an abusive parent. We had anger if we were neglected and we weren't given enough attention and love, right? So it's like that anger stays in the body. And as it stays in the body, once again, it needs to express in certain ways. And if someone can say, hey, look, and this is why when it comes to like the whole mindset community, this is what you'll see very often in the whole mindset, like millionaire mindset community. If you've ever been on TikTok and you kind of follow that trend, or on YouTube, there's a lot of guys that are expressing aggression and anger in a way that's like, are you sick of being broke? Are you ready to stand up for yourself? Are you ready to get money? Are you ready to be powerful? Are you ready to have nice cars and have, you know, relationships in your life that you can be in control of? Well, it's time to stand up. It's time to do something. Get in the gym, you know, push through. Stop being a little bitch. You know, be stronger than that. Get over it, right? First person that comes to my mind is David Goggins, okay? This is playing on anger. And a lot of these guys that push that type of message, and it may be coming from a genuine space for some of them, but a lot of them that are pushing that message, they're making a lot of money from other people because there's this repressed anger where everyone's like, yeah, you're right. I've been taken advantage of. This isn't fair. I'm going to be powerful now. I'm going to override my emotions and I'm going to fight, right? And then they get a whole bunch of purchases on their products, or they get a whole bunch of subscribers or a whole bunch of followers. So the news does the same thing. It's like they, you know, with the protests, it's like everyone's angry. They're standing up for their rights for the first time. It's like they're finally saying what they've always wanted to say. And it just fuels people into like, yeah, like we're going to follow you. We're going to go behind you. Yeah. And then it's all redirected into an agenda. It's always redirected into like an intention that's designed to further separate everyone from their true self. All right. Everything about it. So playing on these emotions is one of the biggest reasons why the mass collective is set up in the way that it is, with all the sinister corruption and things in that nature, all the inversions. It's because for people to profit off of the masses, it is so much easier to do that when people have so much trauma. And when the trauma is so deeply buried that the person has no consciousness to realize, wow, you know what? I'm in a state of fear right now. Maybe I shouldn't make a purchase. Or I'm in a state of like crazy anger. Maybe I shouldn't go follow this protest. Maybe I should just like feel it and find a healthy way to express this right now. Okay? Maybe I should just feel my sadness and be okay with feeling sad. Like maybe if I process this by feeling, it will transmute eventually and turn into happiness. But people don't have that education. So they repress it, and then boom, major corporations can just continuously profit off of you because you have no idea that you're traumatized and you have no idea that you're running away from your emotions. Now to add to that, so this is just to add to it, this is what's happening, but it's way deeper than that. So to add on to the sinister aspects of this whole process, they are consistently promoting. When I say they, I'm talking about the people that are in the positions of pushing out a lot of this catalyst, a lot of these manipulative tactics, they are also educating the mass collective to not feel the emotions to then get to the traumas and process them. They're educating them backwards. They're educating the masses to keep running away from the trauma, to keep fueling the identification of the artificial self. So the way that this shows up is through simple apps like TikTok, where it's like scroll, dopamine, distract. And there's many other apps like that. Instagram, YouTube, to an extent, Facebook, like everything. We're being educated to not feel our emotions on top of the traumas that we go through in our past. So this is also why there's so much intentional programming and indoctrination to separate the families at a young age. So there's like a promotion for separating a mother and a father. That's why if you look at the statistics, most marriages end up in divorce. Like literally most of them end up in divorce right now. And there's a lot of programming and intentional manipulation that's doing this on purpose, because when a family separates, if there's a child involved or children involved, that always traumatizes the children every single time, no matter who you are. Because if you have a family, that's your security net. Now, if your family separates, your security net is gone. And what does that leave you? Fear and sadness right off the bat. So that's why there's so much programming there, because once again, when the children become traumatized, no one's educating them how to process it. No one's giving them tools to know what's happening. They end up being grown adults one day with fear and sadness. And once again, how do I profit off of you? I just have to couch it in fear and say, you need to purchase from me in order to make it through, or in order to be safe. Oh, support me because my business is, it's a family-owned business and we care about the people and all those little things. Oh, that's so nice of you. You're a genuine person. You care. Here, let me donate. When really it's like I've got a whole corporation and there's millions of people that work for me, and we're completely just profiting off of people's sadness, people's fear, people's anger. So as I was saying, it does all connect back to unhealed trauma and the repressed emotions that get stored in the body. And then we layer on top of it the education that goes towards the opposite of knowing how to process those unhealed traumas. So we're now educating people to be faster, to be more identified with their artificial self, to be more out of the present moment, and to always be looking for the next dopamine hit. So this is like, look at the food industry. It's like, how many foods are out there that just give you an instant, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is like, it tastes so good. And it's like at any minute, if you're feeling a certain type of way, it's like, I could just go to the market right now and pick up some food that's like really unhealthy, but it's going to make me feel good. Yet over time, it becomes an addiction. And every time you have the feeling of fear or sadness or anger, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to go get my unhealthy food and I'm going to escape this emotion. I'm going to go get some McDonald's really quick. I'm going to escape this emotion. I'm going to go get my milkshake, escape the emotion. It's like everything is designed to keep people away from being in their present moment to feel. And no one's teaching anyone how to feel. That's why the news, once again, coming back to the news, everyone's so logical and so mechanical. It's like the women are like men. Hey, John, how you doing over there, John? What's the weather like today? It's like, that's not feminine energy. There's no feminine flow to that type of communication. There's no like, oh, you know what? We don't really know what the weather is going to be like today. And, I guess we'll find out as time goes on. The weather is very dynamic. It's like you would never hear that on the news. It's always like, we know exactly what's happening. This is what's going to take place. This is what's going on. It's all so rigid and so logical. And that trains the collective. It trains the mind of the masses to be the same way, which prevents them from being in tune with their feminine energy and overly connects them to the mental plane, the logic, the intellect, where everything has to make sense in order for us to take action. If it doesn't make sense, then we don't step into it. So we inherently will have a deeper fear of the unknown, And if we can't step in the unknown, we're never going to be nurtured by the universe. And if we're never nurtured by the universe can't work with us anymore. So we're going to be working against the universe. And that's the state most people are in, where they feel like victims. They feel like they're victims of everything. It's because the universe is working against them by their own choice. And then we can even layer on the ritualistic symbolism, the satanic symbolism that shows up in the entertainment industry oftentimes. And this is all occult programming using higher sciences, right? Most oftentimes connected to the Kabbalistic tree, where they're using the aspect of it, which is called the Qliphoth, which is the negative aspect of the tree of life. And what that does, so when they display rituals in music videos or in movies and things of that nature, Kabbalistic rituals, they are using Qliphothic symbolism or Qliphothic energies connected to the entities of the Qliphoth, connected to the archetypes, connected to the planets, the zodiac, the elements, you name it. And they're designed to trigger within the unconscious of the observer watching the ritual to bring up trauma. It literally brings up the repressed emotion, the negative energy from the trauma. And if you don't have the education on how to process that negative energy, then you're at a highly likelihood to become even more traumatized. And that's what takes place. So this is why there's so much satanic symbolism in our mass collective. It's not that Satanism or black magic is a bad thing. It's just that people are not educated to know what black magic actually is, what it's designed to bring up to the surface, and how to process it when it comes. So it's quite the reverse. People are being gaslighted almost by rituals on TV in the mass collective that are naturally on a psychic level, deep unconscious level, bringing up repressed emotions that they haven't experienced for years because it's connected to their childhood. And it comes to the surface, and then they're being educated and further distracted to run away from the emotion, to stay away from the emotion. Go to your TikTok, stay focused on the entertainment, run away. And this is like literally like a psychic form of gaslighting. It's like putting the brake on the car while slamming the gas pedal at the same time. And the person ends up becoming more traumatized. They become more depressed because they have no idea what they're doing. And they have no idea how to process this negative energy that starts coming out of the body. So this is the difference between a real educated black magician and someone who's just existing within the mass collective that observes black magic through the movie screen and doesn't even know what they're observing. And then it actually affects them unconsciously and starts triggering an alchemical process that they're uneducated on how to go through. So all that negative energy comes to the surface. They don't even know what to do with it. They further separate. They further find unhealthy ways of coping, toxic relationships, drug addictions, food addictions, porn addictions, sex addictions, you name it. And then they just become even more shelled, more of a consumer. And then in the meantime, my corporation just grows and grows and grows and grows because I have people caught in a hamster wheel of their own unhealed trauma. And I'm making sure they're not getting the proper education to know how to process it or to know what is happening. So this is really what's taking place in our modern time. And I know as I said all of this, it can be so easy to just switch on. There's a part of you that can just switch on and say, this world's fucked up. This world's evil. This, whatever's going on, it's sinister. And I'm aware of it, but I'm living in an evil world. But I'm aware of it. At least I'm aware of it. And that's not why I made this video. I didn't make this video so that you could have that belief system or that so that you could see the world in that way. Because as I said, all of this is divinely orchestrated. And everyone receives their karma. So everyone that's doing this mass collective manipulation and is in these positions of profiting on other people's unhealed trauma while further traumatizing them, there will be karma and it will be paid. Trust me, trust that process. But the ultimate truth is that at the highest levels of elitism, on the Luciferian level, the Luciferian bloodlines, me being one of them, there is love. There is a love for humanity, and there's a deep knowing that humanity has to go through manipulation and has to go through catalyst in order to know their true self. So I like to use the analogy of a gym. It's like, in order to open a gym, you have to have worked hard, and then you open a gym. There's an owner who opened the gym. Now, the owner has to fill the gym with weights and machines that create the catalyst, the resistance. And once everything's in place, then the customers, the gym members, can start entering into the gym. And then they can start exercising. They can start going in with an intention of becoming more healthy, loving themselves more, increasing their strength, increasing their power, all kinds of beneficial things, helpful things. And they're able to develop these qualities by working with the catalyst in the gym, which is the resistance, the weights, and the machines. And meanwhile, the owner of the gym is just operating the gym, making sure everything is functioning the way it needs to. Maybe he hires personal trainers that helps people do what they need to do in the gym. Maybe there's some trainers that are just taking advantage of other people and they're not really helping them, where then there's other trainers that are really invested and very passionate. Some trainers might just be worried about selling, pre-workouts and feeding a false image of what people think they can or what people could be. And then the other ones are really invested in where the person's at and really listen to understand and want the best for their clients. It's the nature of life. And there's a beautiful balance that takes place. So with this gym analogy that I just created, we can look at this analogy overlaid on our planet right now. There is nothing evil. The gym isn't evil. The weights, the machines, the bad trainers, none of it's evil. They're just playing their role. And they're giving people an opportunity to understand how to better work with themselves, how to better love themselves, how to better know themselves. And that's exactly what's happening on our planet. All the catalyst, all the manipulation, it has its role at the end of the day. I wouldn't want to be the person that's doing the unconscious manipulation. I wouldn't want to be the person that hurts a whole bunch of people without giving them any guidance on how to navigate what's going on, because I don't want to have to receive that karma. So I wouldn't want to be that person. But somebody is that person, and somebody's going to play that role in evolution. And at its deepest core, they're playing that role out of love, because they're going to get a lot of karma that comes from it, and they're going to have to pay that down throughout the lifetimes. But ultimately, everything does operate off of love, okay? There is a love for humanity, for the people that govern this planet and that really, influence the mass collective. There is a true love for humanity. It's like a love. I want to see people evolve. I want to see people grow. But I know in order for the human soul to reach its potential, it has to have catalyst. It has to have resistance. There has to be manipulation. There has to be the person that tells you to identify with your artificial self so that you can make the decision to listen to your emotions and listen to your intuition and make the choice to say, I'm going to listen to me. I'm going to love me instead. All right, that's where the real growth is. All right, so come from that paradigm. Nothing is by mistake here. That's what I'm going to say in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this and you felt like that this was a very valuable video for you, come down here and hit the thumbs up. Let me know. Drop in the comment section. Let me know if this helped to give you a certain level of awareness that you previously didn't have. Let me know if this literally opened your eyes to something that you didn't see before. Let me know if you already resonated with some of these things that I spoke about. I want to hear your perspective. All right, I really do. I'm going to read over it. I appreciate all the feedback, and I just love, with curiosity to hear what you guys have to say, you ladies and gentlemen. Now make sure you hit the notification bell, get notified for whenever I post, because with content like this, you clearly don't want to be missing out. Now make sure you're subscribing to my YouTube channel, because if you're not subscribed, you're missing out. Subscribing further links you into my content, and there really is an energetic component that's behind that. So make sure you subscribe. Now also, you have my full permission to copy and paste this link and send it to anybody. I mentioned this earlier in the video too. Like, if you know any family, friends, or social media platforms that you have where people would gain value from hearing this knowledge and listening to this type of information, send it out to them. All right, go ahead and do that. My intention is to also build up my empire. So let's spread this content. All right, beautiful. Now I'm going to take your awareness to a private Facebook community within the description. Click that little drop down, scroll down. You're eventually going to see a link that says private Facebook community. You can request to join. One of my moderators or myself will add you in. There's over 1,000 people in this community. People are posting on a daily basis, and there have been real life relationships that have been formed from this group. Lots of like-minded people. It's a safe space to express yourself, to open up, to share your own experience with the occult without being judged. Rather, you're probably going to connect with a lot of people that actually resonate with you and can offer you some advice. If this is something that you're interested in, I would definitely look into it. As I said, it's in the YouTube description. You scroll down, you'll find the link there, and then you can request to join. We'll leave it there. Now, I'm going to take your awareness to literally one of the most important links within the entire YouTube description itself. It's the first link at the very top. You cannot miss it. It's the Patreon. On my Patreon, I have tons of content, exclusive content that is not on my public YouTube channel. If you study from my public YouTube channel and you gain value from it, you need to be over on the Patreon ASAP. There is tons of valuable information. Actually, it's more advanced and more personal, and I have a lot more actual practices that you can start applying, occult practices and rituals that you can take advantage of to start developing yourself on a psychic level and truly knowing yourself better, true self-integration. So all of that's in the Patreon. With tier number 3 of the Patreon and tier number 4, you're gaining access to the Universe Be Vampire Ritual. This is a ritual that's performed on the 29th of every single month that has one, and is designed to completely shift your energetic structure to start spinning counterclockwise rather than clockwise. Most people have an energy center or energy centers within their body that spin clockwise. This is designed to shift that spin to go counterclockwise, which is much more magnetic. It's much more attuned to the feminine energy inside. It allows you to start taking your power back. So if you've been giving yourself away, bending your back for other people, sacrificing yourself in the process, this allows you to start claiming your power back and loving yourself more. This makes it so that you start becoming much more receptive to your unconscious mind. It's a feminine energy. It allows you to start feeling your emotions more so that you can start doing that deep alchemy, that deep processing of the negative repressed emotion, processing, feeling, turning it into a positive. All right, this becomes literally the foundation for psychic self-development. Now, what it also does for these individuals is it gives them an ability to observe chaos and dark energy in the world around them, and to then see the potential and the power that actually exists within that dark energy, rather than seeing it from a dualistic lens of good and evil, or seeing it from a lens of this is bad, I don't know, I'm afraid of it. It starts to shift the awareness to start using these energies for what they really are, which is potential and power, and you can transmute them into exactly that. All right, so there have been over 1,000 people that have received this ritual. I've received tons of feedback of people that have let me know shortly after receiving it, their lives have shifted drastically for the better. And I just continuously get this feedback over and over and over again. So if you want to take advantage of it, once again, it's that first link in the YouTube description, tier number 3 or 4. But let me add this. When you're taking advantage of the vampire ritual, you are also having your personal information, picture, birth day, birth location, and your current location. All of this is going to be inside of the Vampire Atlantean crystal grid. So this is a specific crystal grid that I have. I have an entire YouTube video on my channel already that discusses the energetic components of this grid. But ultimately, it offers a lot of benefits, and it's a very advanced grid. And you have all your information inside of the grid, which basically activates the grid within your energy field and within your physical body. So it increases your protection, it increases your ability to be in tune with the feminine energy within the universe and yourself, and it helps you to better understand and identify with your true self over the artificial self. All right, so if this is something that you want to partake in, This is also included with the vampire ritual itself. All right, you have to be either tier number 3 or 4 to gain access. We'll leave it there. If this is something you're interested in, check it out. Now, with that being said, I'm going to move into the second link below. You cannot miss it. Second link in the YouTube description. The second link is where you can book a mentorship with me. So if you've been studying my content and you've been getting a lot of value from what I teach, and you're considering initiating yourself into the occult, or you're considering getting into some of the occult practices, or if you're someone that's just taking your self-development seriously, I would highly recommend booking a mentorship with me, because I can really target individually for you the areas of your life that we need to focus on to make sure that you have a foundation, a proper foundation in place before we get into some of the deeper self-development or deeper occult practices. This becomes fundamental because I have seen, unfortunately, good friends of mine that have gotten into this work, and unfortunately I've lost good friends to it because they did not have the proper foundation and they got into some deeper occult practices, and it actually ended up further traumatizing them to the point where I don't even know where they are anymore. Last I heard from one of my friends was he thought the government was chasing him, and this oftentimes can happen when you don't have the proper foundation. So I can help you develop that, and I can help you get in tune with your nervous system as well and start regulating that so that you can just start living a more authentic self-expression lifestyle on a daily basis. This becomes so important and so valuable. So if this is stuff that you resonate with, I would definitely look into it. This is the second link below. You can book the mentorship with me. Check it out. Now, I also have an option there to book a one-on-one call. So if you want to get a taste of what it is that I'm working with or what I'm talking about, or if you just have, some questions that you want to run past me on whatever it is that you're interested in, consider it. You can book your one-on-one call with me at that second link below as well. All right. So I'm going to wrap that up there. Now, in that same second link, you also have an option to book a tarot card reading from me. This is going to be a very unique tarot card reading. And the reason is because I understand the Kabbalistic tree way more than the average person. And I just have a view on the occult and an ability to express occult symbolism that I think a lot of people don't fully tap into. So when I read these cards, I can connect it to the Kabbalistic tree, tell you what you're experiencing, feeling, and going through in the present moment, and then tell you what to expect moving into the near and the long-term future based on what this Kabbalistic correspondence is showing. Now, I'm also breaking down the cards in a very raw and honest way. So I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm telling it to you exactly how it needs to be communicated so that you can receive it on a soul level, so that it can actually cause a shift in your life. I've done well over 2,000 of these readings. I do one almost every single day. I get tons of valuable feedback. If you want to take advantage of it, it's in that second link below. Look into it. Now we're going to move into the third link below, ladies and gentlemen. This is where you can become a YouTube member. As you're becoming a YouTube member, you're getting access to a bunch of benefits. But most importantly, you get access to what I created, which is called the Psychic Warfare Emoji Program. And what this is this is a sequence of emojis that I've designed myself that are based on real occult principles, and you can use them in a specific configuration. Then you link in the name of a target of your choice, you hit enter, and it actually causes psychic effects to that target. This is the most simple form of utilizing psychic warfare through the internet platform, and it also becomes an amazing way to express healthy aggression. Rather than repressing that energy inside of the body, you can have a very simple outlet to express that in a healthy way. There's over 2,000 posts where members have used it. There's members taking advantage of it right now as we speak. If you want to take advantage of it too, look into it. Third link in that YouTube description, you click it, then you join at the top, and then you have access. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate all of you very, very, very much. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.